All right, welcome to the Let It Fly show. My name is Michael Severe, joined by Josh Jones, Omaha Central, and the University of Creighton Blue Jays. It is summer.
Yep.
It's hot.
It's hot.
We've gotten through July 4th. All there's left is really baseball.
I know, man.
It's that time where we're in between, like nothing really going on unless you really love baseball.
Yeah.
All-Star game happens next week. Got the home run derby, but we are just about 70 days away from an incredible fight with Bud Crawford.
You know, 70 days come. Wait.
And we're like 5 weeks away from football really getting going in terms of so even less than that, because you have the preseason will start for the NFL,
right?
And then of course college starting after that. So we're not that far away.
No, we're not, man. I mean,
got to get through it a little bit.
So when baseball is the only thing going,
yeah,
like I be feeling bad because I feel like I'm hating on baseball, but I'm not. I just want to watch other things too.
No, I know. And I'm not. So I used to watch a ton of baseball.
Yeah.
Right. I was a Mets fan. I don't watch baseball anymore, but it's cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff on TV to watch.
No doubt.
Including, I've been watching WNBA.
Yeah.
Very competitive.
Right.
They had their little in-season tournament just finished.
Right.
Indiana won it, even though Caitlin Clark was out. They still won. I love Aaliyah Boston, their center.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch a little bit.
Hey, I like that the WNBA is becoming a thing. It's a parody.
It is.
Like the storylines are getting better.
It is.
The competition is getting tougher.
Yep.
They're creating all these different ways to advance the female game. I always think about, what if Kobe was living?
Oh, because he'd have been working on that, yep.
Man.
And obviously his daughter, too, and what would have happened with that. We are live inside of the Capital District version of the Let It Fly Sports Bars. Also went out there in Elkhorn as well. Come on down. Enjoy all the specials.
Yep.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Always a special going on. We tape this on a Tuesday. Tuesday is...
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
I had to think about that.
Then we got Dollar Wing Wednesday. We got the steak and frites on Thursday. Friday is French dip, and Monday, of course, we got some pizza specials as well. All that going on. And don't forget, we are sponsored by our premier sponsor, who is Bud Light. Taking care of things. What does Bud Light do?
They just make it easy, man.
Make it easy for you. Yeah. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Yep.
Bud Light, we appreciate them being a sponsor of the Let It Fly show.
Thank you.
This week's guest. Good one. Bruce Chubik, of course, 4-year letterman at the University of Nebraska. Went to 4 NCAA. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about where Nebraska is right now, basketball-wise, over the years.
Yeah.
4 straight NCAA tournaments.
Yeah.
Now, they lost all 4.
He a low-key legend.
He is.
Like, low-key legend.
We're going to say this during the 10th leading scorer.
Yep.
Dude could rebound.
Yep.
That team was fun. He referenced it during the interview. We taped it before. Dirk Chatelain wrote the story about Danny Nee. It was like, I think it was 5, 6, 7 parts in the World Hero, and you can find it online.
Yeah.
And just so many good players, they just couldn't get over the top.
I know, man. Yeah.
Couldn't get over the top.
And to me, the only thing that I really wish I would have asked him was, what's up with that Creighton Nebraska rivalry when you was there? I would love to hear them.
I believe he was 4-0 or 3-1.
Okay.
The only one I knew was undefeated was Rich King. So we had him on a no, it wasn't Rich King. It was Dave Hoppin.
Yeah.
Dave was 4-0. Actually, I think he was 5-0. I believe he also beat them in the NIT.
Wow.
Yeah, Dave was for Nebraska.
We had Creighton Prep, right?
No.
Where did Dave Hoppin go?
Benson. He's Benson Bunny.
Benson
Bunny.
I said Creighton
Benson
Prep.
Bunny. I'll be blaspheming in here.
Yeah, my bad, man.
Damn Creighton Prep. Let's do headlines.
I'm tripping.
Huskers. They played Cincinnati to open the season.
I know.
Kansas City, and now it's got a name.
I think I'm going. I think I gotta go.
I'm gonna be down there.
Yeah.
Kansas City Classic.
That's
what it's called.
The
Kansas City Classic.
I'm with that.
Down at Arrowhead Stadium. What they're hoping to do is build a classic every year.
Yeah.
And have a game the week before the NFL starts with the Chiefs.
Right.
They'll have a college game there. They're hoping to do that every year, which makes sense. It's a good idea. And, of course, Nebraska and Cincinnati start that off, so it'll be fun. What they want to have is pairings that intersect the SEC, the Big 12, and then Big 10 territory, so it's going to be those kind of games. Now it's a Big 12, Big 10 game, but they want to have a little variety. So it makes a lot of sense because that area is kind of center. You got Missouri in the SEC, not too far away. Obviously, you got Nebraska in the Big 10, not too far away.
That thing's going to be sold out.
Oh, it is. It's going to be a lot of red. Everywhere, and not because it's in Kansas City.
No, it's
the Chiefs because in Nebraska.
Nebraska red.
Yeah, no, I know it. I remember they were saying the first 2 weeks or first 10 days, they sold something like 60,000 seats. And that place doesn't hold that much. No. I think it's like 69, 70.
Right.
So it'll be sold out for sure with Nebraska fans. Larry Florence, who was a great Nebraska basketball player, passed away. He had multiple myeloma, blood cancer, which is one of the hardest things out there to kick. Fought it for a long time.
Right.
Fought it for a very long time. He was on that 1996 team that won the NIT.
Right.
One of the biggest wins since they won, of course they won the crown this past year. So,
right.
Not exactly a NCAA game, but still.
Yeah, but still, right.
He was a great player, team captain. In 2000, after he played on that 96 team, named all Big 12, honorable mention. Just a really good player. Everybody said just a really good player, too. Just a really good player and a good guy as well. So RIP to Larry Florence. And then last thing, Dallas is playing the Lakers. That's on Thursday in Summer League. Okay? Tickets for this game are currently going
for Cooper Flag.
This is Cooper Flag versus Bronny James.
Well, Cooper Flag. Yeah. The Lakers.
So lower bowl tickets are $650, and on the floor $2,500.
I fool.
Man, who's paying that kind of money to go see Cooper Flag play?
Wait. How much
he gonna play?
How much does the arena hold?
I don't know.
You said who's paying? However many people can fit in that arena.
Yeah.
About all but a quarter of that is what it's gonna hold.
So $2,500 to see Cooper Flag play what? 12 minutes?
Maybe 10.
I remember tuning in to watch Wemby.
I knew he was going to say that.
And I'd be like, put him back in.
I know.
And he was playing like 2 minutes, he'd be out. 4 minutes, he'd be out. Okay.
Well, the thing is, he's so tall that people thought he was going to trick it off before he started.
They didn't want to get him. They say it's the most expensive summer league ticket of all time. Of all time. And that is happening Thursday night.
That's what's up.
And you know what? It'll be on TV.
Up, NBA.
I'll watch it on TV.
Yeah.
I'll watch it on TV.
I am watching it. Wait, when is that again?
That is Thursday night.
I'm there.
Thursday night. We're taping
in
this
my
on
living
Tuesday.
room.
Exactly. Coming up, our guest this week, former Nebraska basketball star and the head coach at Omaha Central. We will be chatting with the man, the myth, the legend, Bruce Chubick, when we come back here on the Let It Fly Show. All right, welcome back to the show we call Let It Fly. We are joined by Atkinson, Nebraska native, former Nebraska basketball player, and the head coach at Omaha Central, our school. I didn't go to school there, Bruce Chubick. Right. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and I would say native is probably not right. I went to high school in Atkinson, but we didn't move till I was in 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
I grew up here in Council Bluffs. We moved right before I started 7th grade. I lived in Montana 2 years, and then I started in Atkinson. So
I bet you the folks there claim you.
When I'm doing something good.
Yeah, I know how that is.
When I'm not, they don't know me.
For me, let's start there. Like, where did your basketball journey start? Who were some of your inspirations growing up for you to be what we'll talk about eventually of what you became as a player?
Well, my dad first.
Okay.
I grew up, my dad was 19 when I was born. My mom was 18.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up watching him play. And my dad was a good player. The guys who played with him like, you'll never be as good a shooter as your dad. I'm like, thanks. What do I do? What do I do with that?
Right.
But no, he definitely was one of my inspirations. I used to watch him in the town tournaments and the leagues around town, and man could score. So that was my first. And then I would say, I was a big Larry Bird fan. I liked Michael Jordan too, but
you was white and he's white.
Not necessarily that. I actually probably as when Larry stepped down, Charles Barkley was my guy.
Round, bound, and rebound.
Undersized four guy.
You played like him.
Four guy,
you played like your whole career.
So, I caught a lot, and I liked the fact that he was kind of an all-around player. It was good seeing the court, a lot of assists, rebounds, score, shoot a little bit.
It's normally Michael making the jokes. Not me.
I was just saying, Larry wasn't white; he was clear. That's the line from the movie. Senior, junior years, 45-1.
I know, man.
45-1, and currently the 10th leading scorer in all of Nebraska high school basketball.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, when I try to tell the kids that I know a little something about how to play, they like, whatever, coach. I'm like, I guess that internet thing, you could look it up if you really wanted to.
Right.
It was a good run, and lucky for me, I teammate named Chris Peacock that was my point guard. He's also on the list. He scored 1,700 points. So between the two of us, it was like 4,000 for the same period of time, which is kind of a big deal. But we also had some really, really good teammates my junior year. Jamie Lever, who went on to play football for the University of Nebraska, was starting defensive tackle, I think, for 2 years. Brendan Lindsay was a left-handed quarterback, started from freshman year on. We had 2 other guys that were really, really good Class C1 athletes. And so, it wasn't just us. It was a collective group. Senior year was a little less so because we had one kid who would have been probably our 3rd leading scorer, was a Jehovah's Witness. His parents wouldn't let him play basketball.
Dang.
And so because it didn't glorify God, which I'm saying – if you have a gift from God and you don't use it,
that's true.
Like,
I know.
To me, that's like God gave you the gift for a reason.
I was about to say,
use it.
Yeah,
use
right.
It.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your process of recruitment, because obviously when you're in the state, Nebraska is the school you think about. But who else came looking at you?
So that's an interesting story too, because growing up, my grandfather and my dad were both huge Iowa Hawkeye fans. I was an Iowa Hawkeye fan. I did not necessarily want to go to Nebraska. I've told this story a few times and Husker fans hate it, but I'm like, in a way, if you want to look at it like that, it's probably a bigger compliment to the program.
Right.
If I had grown up wanting to play for Nebraska my whole life and I chose it, you go, well, yeah, you always wanted to go there.
Right.
I looked at everything, scrutinized it, and decided Nebraska was the best place for me. So to me, that says your university, your program, your facilities were superior to anything else I was looking at. So at the time, I also talked to Coach Baroni, and that's a whole nother story. If you got time, I'll tell you that one because it's kind of funny. And then St. Louis U recruited me, but they weren't. That was before Rick Majerus got there, so they weren't quite what they were, in the years after. And then Wisconsin, who also wasn't quite what Wisconsin is now. They were trying to figure out how to get to what they've become, but they weren't there yet.
Was Tom Davis at Iowa when Dr. Tom?
Yeah, yep. And my dad actually, I think, had reached out and said, I don't know what you guys are going to do, but, maybe take a look at my son, see what you think. And if he's not good enough, he's not good enough. But, like, he grew up a Hawkeye fan. Right. At least see what you think, and if you say no thanks but no thanks, that's fine, but at least give him a look. And I got a letter from Bruce Pearl because he was an assistant at the time, but then I've also found out after the fact Chris Street had committed early.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking Iowa's going, what we need Bruce Chubick for? We got Chris Street, and Chris Street was pretty good. Let's
no doubt.
So,
no doubt.
I'm okay being second in that one. That's fine. So, but that was kind of my recruitment, and not just there, but those were my main 5, I guess. So.
Right. So for me, just coming out around that time, I know you mentioned facilities and programs and things like that, but what was that moment where you was like, you know what, it is the programs, facilities, and all of that? Like, what was that moment for you?
So I visited Wisconsin first.
Yeah.
Wisconsin was still playing in the old field house. It was like 1929 or something building, and they hadn't updated it much.
Dang.
So you got leaky pipes, and it's
man.
The weight room is not even as big as this studio.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay. And then I go to Nebraska, and obviously, football money or whatever you want to say, but it was vastly superior. You had the training table, you had. Plus, the other thing I kind of could tell, met good people both places, probably would have had good teammates either place. But I felt like visiting Nebraska, the fans wanted a change, felt like there was enough talent there that we were kind of on the verge of something. And, Pikowski was going to go.
No doubt. Yeah.
Jamie Cole was a kid out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, who was going to go. And I'm like, I got my guys to ride with. And,
right.
I think we got an opportunity to do something here. And like I said, it felt like they were close, just hadn't broken through. Yeah. Well, I guess I'm kind of one of those guys who likes to be on the ground floor, and when it breaks through, you go, I've been here from day one,
Yep.
So
that's cool.
Who's Chubik joining us on the Let It Fly show. Talk to us about Danny Nee. And so every time I think of him being a little crazy, right? That's just what I think of. My uncle was a basketball coach. I told him I was moving to Nebraska years ago. He's like, oh, that's where Danny Nee, boy, he was crazy. What was coach about him? What made him appealing? What made him a good coach?
I think one of his strongest suits, well, he had a few strong suits. He's a very good motivator. I mean, when Kansas, we were 4-0 against Kansas at home while I played.
Wow.
My redshirt year we lost, but my years that I played, we were 4-0 at home. Never won on the road.
Yeah.
We were 4-0 at home, and then we beat them once in the Big 8 tournament. So I actually had a winning record against Kansas.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah. So, which, that was cool. But no, Danny was like Dirk Chatelain, his article, I learned stuff about Coach Nee that I didn't know that actually would have helped me understand him better and probably relate better to him. Just the POW camp thing and those things. We come in with a ingrown toenail and you go, oh, Coach, my toe hurts. And this guy spent 18 months in a POW camp in Vietnam. You go, I don't think I'm going to bring my toe up. Right. And stuff like that. But very, very animated. I mean, I could tell you some stories, but I don't know if
this is a platform.
Oh,
we good. This is a platform.
So, I mean, I got a bunch of them, but a lot of them are at least R-rated, if not X. So, that was Coach. The F word was kind of like and the.
Yeah.
What do we call those participles?
Yeah. Yep.
Really. But, good motivator. I wouldn't he had good guys around him too. And I thought while I was there, he did a good job. Gary Bargan was kind of offensive coordinator, if you want to describe it like that.
Yeah.
We had out of bounds plays late.
I like those type of coaches.
He had plays for days. Like, Gary, you got one for, let's get so-and-so a shot. Oh yeah, I got one. Draw it up. There we go.
Yeah.
Jeff Smith was kind of the defensive coordinator. So Nee was kind of like head football coach. I got my offensive coordinator. I have my defensive coordinator. I have some say-so on what we do. I can veto power you, but I'm going to let you guys call it. Tell me what we're doing and why, and let's go. And it worked. Yeah. It worked.
So what about let's talk about the Hall of Fame. Starting with, was it high school or college that actually came first?
College came first.
So what does that mean to you? What I've noticed, a lot of humble, great players, the Hall of Fame means nostalgia for what you did, and it stamps what you did when you played. But what does it mean to you to be in the Hall of Fame and things like that?
It was a big deal to me. Seeing some of the guys who came before me, Andre, who's no longer with us, was I kind of looked up to him, I guess. And he's like, I never did anything for you. I'm like, yeah, but taking the time to actually talk to somebody when they've watched you play and have admired how you've played, it is a big deal.
It is.
And he was a humble guy too, so he kind of discounted that, but I didn't, and Bo was in there. Bo was a teammate of mine. Pike is a teammate of mine. So to be able to join that group of guys was a big deal. And obviously you don't get there without great teammates. And my stat line was good, but wasn't otherworldly or anything. I wasn't going to get there without being on some really good teams. So I know that a lot of the reason that I'm in is because I played with good teams and I played a good role on those good teams.
It elevated you, like the good players around you. Yeah.
And I think, we kind of lift each other up. That's what a good team does.
That's true.
We had some good teams down there. We didn't win any NCAA tournament games, unfortunately, but we had some good teams, and we did arguably more than most of the teams have done since. And I'm hoping Fred can fully change that. And I think he's on the path for that, but you got to do it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, former Husker and Central head basketball coach Bruce Chubick joining us here on the Let It Fly show. I want to go back to that because it's not the word regret, because I never believe you. You play as hard as you can, you do whatever you can do. But when you look back at those attempts to win those games, knowing that Nebraska still hasn't won one, is there something that sticks out the most from one of those games for you?
Missed opportunities, and that goes down the line. So high school level, college level, professional, if you're lucky enough to play there, you get so many opportunities, so many at-bats, if you want to call it that. We use baseball analogy, but you get your at-bats, and you got to swing for the fences when you get the bat. And I thought that we played tight especially against Xavier and against Penn. I think the other two games were more or less toss-ups with our talent versus their talent. Like, if we're on and they're not, we beat them. If they're on and we're not, they beat us. Those two teams, even though you're not in that tournament, if you're not a very good team, but I thought personnel-wise and how we played during the season, we were a better team, but we weren't on that day. So it's regret, because it is regret, because it's a missed opportunity. You only get so many of those, and it is one of those deals where I always felt like, had we been able to win one, we have a good shot of maybe winning a second one, and then you don't know.
Right.
You know? And it's like the state tournament in Nebraska. You go down as a 7 seed, you win the first game, you might mess around and win it.
Yeah. Yep, that's very true.
No doubt.
Yep, for me, my last one, well, maybe I got one more with college, but what as an alum, especially as a Hall of Famer, what's your rapport like now with the current coaching staff, Coach Hoiberg and the team, and other guys, like Eric Strickland or those who just played? Like, what's the rapport like now? The fraternity.
With the fraternity, that has always been good. Like, when I've gone back, I didn't particularly care for Tim Miles.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. That's true.
That's it is what it is.
That's true.
We have our differences or whatever, but I always went back to see my guys.
No doubt.
And it's not just the guys I played with. T. Buchanan is a good friend of mine who played before me.
Yep.
Has always been like ultimate Husker supporter guy, and so he's kind of helped bring a lot of us together. Chris Cresswell's he's Carmichael now, but he's coming to town tomorrow night. Bo and he and I are going to go have dinner. And so that brotherhood cannot be understated.
Right.
And the guys that I coach now,
right.
we get so focused on end result, but I always encourage you got to enjoy the ride.
I'm trying to tell you.
When you got guys that you really like playing with, it's a unique experience that you cannot take for granted. And I don't think I took it for granted, but I maybe didn't fully appreciate how good the guys were that I played with.
Dang.
Both just good guys and good players.
Right.
And those are things that you kind of learn as you age.
Yeah.
Let's talk about now. How did the process work for the Central job? Were you already looking to start being a head coach? Well, obviously you're working with your dad for a long time. You guys were very successful there at South. When did the Central job come about, and why did you decide that was the right one?
Well, I had read in the paper that Eric Barons was going to take the AD job out at Westview. And I'm like, okay, that job's coming open. Right. The thought had been that I would try to follow my dad at South, but some things changed within the administration that was going to make it much, much more difficult to build a program over there. And I'm like, I can't sit by and watch what my dad built up for 16 years, watch it burn down in a year or two, especially with me at the helm. And, you didn't do enough. Well,
yeah, I hate to say it's done everything you predicted to leaving. And that's sad to say. I mean, there's so many components. There's an OPS side, but then there is a internal side where it's not the same, man.
No.
That's going to be honest with you.
No,
it's no shade.
I know that during COVID, there were some things that changed and all that. You can bring all that back.
Right.
But like when I knew it wasn't going to be the same, I knew if I wanted to coach, I probably needed to look elsewhere. And, the Central job came up, and I talked to my dad first. I said, that job is going to come open.
Yeah.
Do you think I should apply for it? He said, I do. And if they offer it to you, I think you should take it. And I said, okay.
Right. Yeah.
And that was that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I've always, for me, and maybe you too, I've never seen you away from your dad in coaching. Like, what does that mean to you? Yep. And like that moment, because I mean, I've seen this guy say he's retired, have a broken leg or something, and still be on the bench.
Or coach through a heart attack.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to top that one.
You don't want to.
No, yeah. I don't want to top that one. No, it's going to be weird and hard.
No doubt.
Because in addition to being my dad, he's become one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And, when you have that for 19, 20 years where you're kind of almost sharing the same brain because you're on the same page so much, to lose that is a big deal. It's going to be a big adjustment. And, I've begun to make it, but it takes time.
What's some great coaching moments from like just you being on a bench with your dad or just in his coaching career?
Getting to see him win state at South the first time
I was pissed.
Was a really big deal. was a really big deal because, the year before, we thought like we had a good 15. We thought we had a good chance
Y'all
to win
did.
in 15.
I was shocked. Yeah.
Lost to prep.
Yep.
And that stung.
Yeah.
But beyond stung.
Right.
To come back that next year and win it.
Yeah.
And I thought 16, that team, if knowing my dad's defense, if you would have said, give me a textbook example of how your team should play defense.
Right.
If you looked at the second half of the Fremont game in the state championship, it was like textbook.
Yeah.
Like every rotation was on. Everybody was where they were supposed to be.
Man.
You got beat, I covered for you.
Yeah.
Michael covered for me.
Right.
It was like there was no gap.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was kind of why the game turned around. So that one was a big one. And 19, we came out of nowhere like that. To my point, we came in as the 6th seed. We had lost by 15 or 17 to Kearney like 3 weeks before that.
Before that,
So everybody's writing, oh, you're going to get crushed.
And you guys had a kid from Central that I remember that was a mentor of mine to the Urban League that was tiny.
Kyle Hutcherson.
Man, listen, this dude, like, I don't know. I resigned from the Urban League, went to the Salvation Army. Next thing I'm looking on TV, and he's contributing to the basketball program. And he was non-existent at Central High School.
Yeah. And that, point blank, if we don't have him in the state championship, we don't win.
100%.
And that team and I have talked so many times since. You take one guy out of that rotation, you don't win.
Wow. And this is a team who had Tanji, right sale, like that. Like I was more not mad at South. I was mad because the execution of Central in those moments. That's what I was as a competitor and an alum. But that was a great like watching your dad coach over the years and competing as a player against him. That was one of the greatest ones for me.
Let me tell you, that huddle before we took the steal and
the trap and the layup
to win.
Yep.
So we had a foul to give.
Oh.
So my dad said, they're going to go to Tanji. Tanji's going to try to get his shot.
Yes.
Let's double team him.
Yeah.
He goes, we got a foul to give if we need it.
Yeah.
Well, let's steal the ball and win the game.
What a story.
You can ask anybody that was in the huddle. He called it.
Game.
And it happened, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Probably might have said something a little different.
I know.
But,
that's respect.
That's that participle again.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Let's talk about. So one of the biggest things that we talk about constantly here and everywhere is open enrollment and the transfer system and how it works now.
Right.
Is there something you'd like to see done, whether it's overall, just in basketball, to be able to help some of these OPS schools be able to compete with some places that really have maybe better facilities and, more money out there?
It's a tough question because when you get to the college level, it's like it is in high school here. So it's, there are some writers, maybe some former colleagues or friends of yours who've lamented about the transfer situation, but I liken it to, don't be the old guy on the beach bitching at the waves coming in. Learn how to swim.
Yeah, you got to adjust to it.
You can drown or you can swim.
I agree.
I'm trying to swim.
Yeah.
And it's, obviously people go, oh, you're at Central. Yeah, but you also have to build a brand of basketball that the kids want or whatever you've got.
That's facts.
And I think we get focused on, obviously academics should be the most important thing because after sports are done, you got to have an education. You got to have ideally you got a degree and something you can fall back onto to make money and feed your family and all that stuff. So that obviously needs to be number one.
Right.
1A, 2, 3, 4, all of those.
100%.
But we also have kids who I was one of those. I was a good student, but I wasn't a guy who's going to get academic scholarships for my academics.
Right.
I might have gotten a little help, but it wouldn't have been a full ride.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting a Buffett or anything like that. Yeah. Number one, because I wasn't down here, but whole nother story. But for athletes, for music majors, for singers, for actors, why do we want to limit kids to take advantage of an opportunity that's going to help further them in their life? To me, it's about the kids. And, if I got a chance to go play for Josh and I think he can help me get a college scholarship playing basketball, or my coach over here, I don't think can do that for me.
I'm going.
Am I wanting to go to Josh?
Yeah,
I think I do.
That makes sense.
And that's,
Yeah.
that's part of the the whole picture.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be transferring just because of sports, but I think if you are an exceptional student in OPS and you push yourself, you will get a good education.
Oh, heck
Yeah.
If you're somebody who likes to skim by, you can probably do that too. And the guy skimming by may not get as good an education at OPS as he would at Creighton Prep. But the exceptional student at Central, I'll stack him against Creighton Prep, Elkhorn South, any of them all day long.
I don't know where he fits in this team this year for you guys, and we'll get into that, but watching Grigsby play, both on a football field and a basketball field, and I think about his dad and the whole family, they're so quick. Like, could you imagine trying to grab them when they were 3 years old?
I can't imagine.
Oh, you probably know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts to think about. Walk us through the team you got coming back now and what's it going to look like.
Oh, wow. It's going to be a pretty good team, I think. Obviously, you just named Yasir started half the time for us at point guard last year. The other half was split with Jalen Partridge. Both of them were freshmen, which is part of the reason we probably took some lumps.
Right.
But I knew that was the case. We didn't have an older guy who was going to do a better job, and I thought if we need to take lumps, let's take lumps this year. Mm-hmm. Let's let these guys get their feet wet, get their experience, and we're going to be the one dishing the lumps out hopefully down the road. And that was kind of what we rolled with. So we have those two guys coming back. We have Evan Rogers, who was the second leading scorer.
Yep.
Dad is Chris, former Creighton Blue Jay.
Yep.
We've got Lennox Haynes, who is the leading scorer. He's coming back. We have 4 transfers who've come in, one from South, that's Isaiah Ruffin, King Knight from Creighton Prep, and then Antonio De Leon has transferred in, and we have one more that is in the process of transferring but hasn't completed it yet. And that's, and along with the guys that we had coming back from last year's team. And then Nels Peterson was a kid who was primarily a JV guy last year, had a suit, got in, did some nice things in the varsity game, but was just a little bit away. A year older, stronger, smarter, getting used to the high school basketball scene. He's improved a lot. People are like, wow, he's really come along. I'm like, it's a growth process. And he's young for his class, so it takes time. So, the guys that I just named, and then we've got a heck of a good freshman class too. So I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 of those guys are looking at a suit at some point too. Like Kyer Dortch was at Hale, and he was a heck of an athlete. He'll do a good job for us. Mikey Kidd was at Monroe, played for Alvin at Monroe.
At Monroe.
And then we have J.D. Jernigan is from King.
King Science.
The Johnson twins were his teammates over at King, and they're all good. And I'm only naming some of them.
Right.
We have 4 or 5 more really good freshmen. They may not be ready for varsity this year, but they're really good players.
And on top of all of that, you got a crowd behind you that when it gets going, that building's as loud as almost any place in the metro.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially when the student section. So that's one of my plans this year is to reach out to them and go, hey, we need you.
And don't leave early.
Yeah, don't leave early. We need you. We need to get you to help lift us up. Start chanting stuff at the other team. Everybody else does it to us. We might as well do it back, right?
Right.
So don't get too carried away. Don't get personal.
Don't get North Central in 2000 to 2008.
Don't talk about anybody's mama.
I'm about to say. Hilarious.
So other than that, though, I mean, like the student section is great. The alumni is great. And I talked to Josh. We're still kind of trying to figure out what it would look like, but Nebraska has all of us old guys back for an alumni weekend.
Yeah. Right.
I would like to do that with these guys who played before. Just come out, have a class of 2008, name all those guys, let them step forward, wave to the crowd, get some love because they deserve it.
It is a great idea, 100%.
And I want those guys to feel, everybody who played before, whether it was 1962,
right,
or 2019. I want them to
a lot of them are still around.
Yeah, I want them to feel like the coach changed, but Central didn't change. Central's bigger than any coach, even Barron's.
That is very true.
And Barron's did a hell of a job. Don't get me wrong. 7 out of 8 may never be duplicated.
Right.
That's I mean that stands alone. Yeah. but he's not bigger than Central.
No.
Central is its own thing.
Yeah.
So.
We had Abdul Muhammad sitting in your seat. Was the last pod or when? He was saying what you said. He was like, what made him want to be a part of Central was the simple fact of the excellence across the board of everything. He was like, it's big in what it is, but it's even bigger than what it's doing. So like everybody who's came through is just a part of something that's excellent, and there's no man that's bigger than the excellency.
And all you have to do is walk down that Hall of Fame and see all the names on the wall. And it's not, for those who haven't walked it, there are some sports people on there, but you have astronauts, you have dignitaries, you have actors. Yeah, I mean, the list is long, and I'm going, wow.
Yes.
I was kind of in awe. Like, wow, that's a hell of a wall.
Yeah.
The last thing, did you know Larry Florence at all?
A little bit.
Because he would have been a freshman?
Larry came after me.
Yes.
So he was
96 team, wasn't he on the 96 team?
He was on that. I think he came in, I don't know if it was 96 or 94, 95, which would have been directly year after me. But he and Tom Wald were teammates all the way through, I think. And Tom redshirted the year that I was a senior. So we didn't actually play together. We did in the summer league, but we didn't play at Nebraska together. But Tom and him were pretty good friends. And so I've kind of gotten to know him secondhand through his friends. Met him, obviously, several times. But the journey with what he's been through with cancer, just to watch how he kept fighting and kept trying to put positive out there when you're going through what has to be one of the hardest things in your life was inspiring. And I told him that on more than one occasion. He might have been going, well, thanks, who the hell are you? But it was impressive to me. Like, it'd be very easy to go into your shell and not try to still raise people up, and he did that. And I respect that. That's like, if your journey can help somebody else, why not share that,
Keep fighting. Don't ever give up. Coach, we appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you for coming on with us.
Thank you so much.
And good luck this season, and we'll be there cheering you on.
Good. You're welcome. I'll make sure they leave you on the list. You can get in free, man.
Bruce Chubick joining us here on Let It Fly Show.
Welcome back to Let It Fly Show. Bruce Chubick, we appreciate him.
Yeah.
We will obviously be cheering all season long.
We will.
For Omaha Central and the Eagles.
And we'll be there.
Yeah, and we'll be there as well. Hey, that's the thing about, because we talk a lot about transfers both in the portal and college and everything else, but you can quickly rebuild.
Yeah.
Because last year they were young and they just really, against the better teams, they just couldn't get over the hump. Right. And they would have games where they would get within 6.
Right.
And then the game would go to 12.
Right.
And then they'd get within 4. Then the game would go back to 10. And they could never get over the hump. Now, bringing these transfers in, guys who have some experience, along with those freshmen, they're pretty good, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, why I like Coach Chubick at Central is because who else is better, first of all?
Right.
Second of all, he's been around the culture of OPS sports. He knows what it means to play against Central. Mm-hmm. He can. It's easy to like embrace the culture for what it is.
Oh yeah.
And he's seasoned enough to take the job.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm very excited about this year coming up for them and all. I mean, high school basketball last year was really strange.
I know,
because you really didn't have any dominant players.
It was boring.
It was kind of boring.
I ain't gonna lie. It is what it is.
I got a chance to see the ball kid play in person with Papillion South, I think it was, and he was a good player, but I mean, it wasn't like it was.
Nah, it ain't
so
that.
Special thanks to Bruce Chubick. We appreciate for him for coming on and telling us a bunch of stories.
Appreciate you.
Also, Caleb, who is producing the show.
Always.
Mike Allen, who is the general manager. Well, not the general manager. He is over the podcasting studio.
Right.
And also we appreciate Stable Gray for putting everything together as well. And our presenting sponsor, Bud Light, making it easy to drink, easy buckets, easy to enjoy across the state of Nebraska. And a reminder, if you haven't yet, like and subscribe. Our subscriber rate is going up on YouTube.
It is.
We're adding to it.
We appreciate you.
Please like, please subscribe. Then you can unsubscribe and then subscribe again.
Yes.
Do it a couple times.
All right.
Just get a subscriber number up. We appreciate that. No doubt about that. So thank you for that as well. And then, of course, however you follow it, make sure you like it and follow as well. Yep. Josh, take us away.
Hey, Josh Jones here with Michael Severe. You know how we do it. It's a Let It Fly show.